Today's episode is presented by Lodestar, the fee experts.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the summer season of Lending Leaders.
Yeah.
So we're here in a slightly different, same office, different location. We're trying new things with our format, both content-wise, visually-wise. You can see our excellent background coming soon is in progress. So any suggestions, we'd love to hear. But where are you using the summer to kind of tweak what we're doing, play with the structure, the production of the podcast a little bit to hopefully put out something fresh and new come September.
Yeah, absolutely.
For this week on Lending Leaders, we'd love to get your take on regulation. What are some of the biggest changes that you foresee?
I mean, I think the GSEs, there's a huge push to release them, right?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the biggest shift we're going to see out of this administration.
That's what I'm watching most closely for sure.
Yeah, like
And I don't think GSE
privatization
is a bad thing in and of itself, but like anything else, the devil's in the details. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it's done. And if there's, one news story that always catches me or always something I'm like keeping an eye on, despite, the plethora of other things right now, it's GSE reform. I think that's going to have the biggest effect on the market.
Yeah, I think, everyone's got their frustrations with Fannie or Freddie, and there's lots of feelings, right? And I think, there's no right answer to how this is done, right? No, this has never been done before, right? Privatized.
Well, they were private.
They were private, and then went back to the government, and then now we're releasing them again. Like that's never been done before. So
not in our lifetimes, at least, right? Like I don't exactly know. That's a good point. I'm unsure of the precedent for that.
I don't think there is one. So we're in uncharted territory, which is totally fine. It's just, I think that's definitely going to be the biggest thing. This is administration's pushing for it.
Yeah.
The interest is there in the mortgage industry to make this happen. So
will it hurt liquidity in the market? Will it ultimately hurt volume? There's a way that things just kind of repeat themselves, right? And like, obviously a lot of things went into the subprime mortgage crisis, but now we kind of have non-QM lenders back, which is, those same folks under a different name, obviously a lot more regulations on them now than they used to, but it's interesting to see how things are just kind of circling back. Because if you're in non-QM right now, you're very excited about GSE reform and privatization. That can be very good for the non-QM space, which isn't in itself bad for mortgage. Like we don't know, right? So that's kind of why it's interesting. I think the other thing in regulatory updates is deregulation.
Yes.
And I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think the biggest thing for me that, I think actually is really well explained by what we do is if you deregulate on the federal level, there's a lot of conversations right now that states are going to start to regulate themselves, right? And some states are going to be more aggressive than other states. And so one of the reasons as, Lodestar people come to us is because state by state transfer taxes and recording fees and all of these other regulations are different, right? And it's so hard to manage if you're a 50 state lender. And so now we're going to take that and put that on compliance teams to now have to manage regulations in all 50 states, right? And I think that's honestly the biggest flaw with deregulation on a national level is it actually makes it really difficult to do business across multiple states. So that's kind of, I think, my biggest concern with it. And I think we're going to see states like California, Massachusetts have already said, like, we're going to enforce these regulations.
I saw it might have been Housing Wire that line of there's 50 new sheriffs in town.
Exactly.
Right? And that's not going to make things any less simple.
You're going to spend more money on compliance because now all of a sudden you have 50 different regulations you have to hold accountable for. And also you're not out of the statute of limitations when the administration changes, right?
The audit's just going to go right back to your last audit. So since that all happened, I was definitely concerned about deregulation. And that was one thing we talked about on the Lending Leaders podcast with Matt Van Fossen. And since that time, I've been much less concerned about the effect of it on our business just because of all of the other things that are there. Also, if you're a credit union, a bank, a depository, you have other government entities regulating you aside from the CFPB as well. So there's lots of regulatory overlap, and the removal of one in some ways actually makes things trickier.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys all so much for joining us for the summer session. We'll be definitely having some new branding the next time you see us. We're very excited for our background coming soon. Make sure you are following us on our YouTube channel, Anchor, or Spotify, Apple Music, all those lovely things will allow you to continue following us as we make our transition.
Tell us what you like, what you don't like, where.
Yeah, we're all ears right now. So, we're really excited for this this new format that's coming soon.
This is basically training camp for us.
Yes. So we'll see you all very soon.
Thanks, everyone.